Hello and welcome to my channel, Gotchalytics, where today we'll be going over our favorite Fraxidus fanatic, Phrolova. In this video, we'll be going over her kit, rotation, echoes, talents, weapon options, team synergies, and at the end my overall opinion. And now for a quick disclaimer. This video is based on my own calculations and theoretical analysis. Actual gameplay will likely differ due to in-game variables, updates, rotations, and individual playstyles. Since we're still in beta, things are unlikely to change at this point, but it is possible, so do keep that in mind. To put Phrolova's kit simply, her abilities revolve around her generating volatile notes, or her Forte circuit. Once she generates 6 volatile notes, she can cast her enhanced heavy attack Scarlet Coda that has a huge multiplier and scales with resonance skill damage. Casting this heavy attack will then allow her to cast her Liberation, which will summon the infamous Hecate. You can either play as Hecate, or more optimally, switch off Phrolova at this point to allow Hecate to attack off-field. Hecate will perform automatic hits off-field, but will also do a coordinated attack when you perform an Echo cast ability. Do note that in order for Hecate to do the coordinated attack, you need to cast a unique Echoes ability every time. So Echoes with multiple hits don't benefit from the extra field time. So yes, the Thundering Mephis you farmed in 1.0 will still rot in your inventory. Since Cantarella has built-in unique Echo hits in her kit, by performing her Liberation, Flickering Reverie, and Perception Drain, she has the ability to make most out of Hecate's enhanced hits. After a bit of testing, I found out that Rocha's Trick Box also counts as an Echo skill cast, as it does work with Cantarella's passive as seen here that verifies it counts as an Echo cast. This means between Rocha's Box and Echo and Cantarella's Echo, plus her 3 unique hits, we can get a total of 6 enhanced hits that can be cast between Rocha and Cantarella. Phrolova's enhanced attacks will have a slightly different mechanic depending on the note you generated during her rotation, but the damage they do is pretty similar, with one having a grouping effect, volatile notes wins, and does slightly less damage, and the other, volatile note strings, has a stagnating effect and does slightly higher damage. Phrolova can generate these notes in the following ways. Hitting a target with her basic 3 or a skill, which will also put her into Reincarnate state. Consuming the Reincarnate state by casting either her basic attack, that will cast Movement of Fate and Finality, or her skill, that will also perform an enhanced attack called Murmurs in a Haunting Dream. There's also a third type of enhanced attack that will have both effects called Volatile Note Cadenza. When you intro or cast an Echo, the note you create will become this type. So there will be some pretty creative ways that you can place these into your rotation. One more important part of Phrolova's kit is that her enhanced hits from Hecate give her Aftertune, which gives her extra crit damage for each stack of Aftertune she has, and buffs her enhanced heavy attack by giving it an additional multiplier per stack. Phrolova's rotation is actually pretty simple, with room for variation. You can alter her rotation depending on the notes you want to generate for the content you're doing, but this should be good enough to get you started. Start with your intro into a basic 3, since after she intros, she can skip straight to a basic 3. Her basic 3 puts her in Reincarnate state, so you can cast either your enhanced basic attack or skill. This will generate 1 Cadenza note for the basic 3 and 1 for her enhanced skill, or basic depending on the note you want to generate. Next you can cast your Echo to convert the next note into another volatile note Cadenza, followed by a resonance skill into another enhanced auto or skill. Do 3 more basic attacks, followed by 1 more enhanced auto or skill to generate the last note you will need to cast your heavy attack. At this point, you can cast your Liberation and outro. Phrolova does have a new Echo set that's coming out with her, that will be her best set called Dream of the Lost, as most of her damage comes from her off-field damage that counts as Echo skill damage, as you can see here. This new set is a 3-piece set, which means you will need to run a separate 2-piece Echo set. The main options to consider are going to be the Havoc Eclipse and Midnight Veil sets. You can consider the Lingering Tune set since the 10% attack will be good as well, but you should get slightly more value out of the other 2 2-piece sets. The new Echo set provides a ton of crit rate and Echo skill damage bonus for Phrolova, so going for a crit damage 4 cost will be optimal for an endgame build. As for your 3 cost main stat, going for Havoc damage bonus will be a bit better than attack percent. As for Phrolova's substat priority, going for crit damage and crit rate will be the highest priority, followed by attack percent, flat attack, and then resonance skill damage bonus. Since Phrolova has no energy cost for her liberation, energy recharge will not be necessary. Phrolova's talents can be prioritized as the following. Heavily prioritize leveling your liberation, since this is what Hecate will scale with, followed by your Forte Circuit, then normal attack. Phrolova has an enhanced intro that does pretty solid damage, so leveling your intro next will be optimal, and last, your resonance skill. Phrolova's signature weapon is quite a bit better than the rest, having Echo skill damage amplification built in. Having said that, Phrolova does have some pretty good alternatives. Whispers of Sirens is about an 18% damage decrease for Phrolova, and around a 10% team-wide damage decrease, making it a pretty good alternative. Grime-Draped Sprouts is going to perform pretty close to Whispers of Sirens, with about a 19% personal damage decrease, or an 11% team-wide damage decrease. Stringmaster is right behind, with about a 20% personal damage decrease, or an 11% team-wide damage decrease. The standard banner weapon, Cosmic Ripples, is going to perform pretty well as a more free-to-play alternative, with about a 25% personal or a 14% team-wide damage decrease. The Battle Pass weapon at R1 will perform at about a 32% personal or 17% team-wide damage decrease. At R5, it will perform a bit better at around a 29% personal or 16% team-wide damage decrease. Now, in terms of the best resonator to pair with Phrolova, I would have to say it's going to be Cantarella. Since Cantarella has several unique Echo attacks that really allow Phrolova to output a ton of extra damage, she ends up pairing exceptionally well compared to other resonators. Pairing this with Rocha makes the team perform even better, since Rocha does have an extra Echo cast with her Trick Box active, and really ramps up Cantarella's damage with her outro. Since Phrolova also buffs Havoc and heavy damage, this will also synergize with Rocha quite well. As a replacement, using Sanwa instead of Rocha will still perform fairly well, since she's going to perform a bit behind Rocha with a very similar kit, and a smaller outro buff. You can also consider using Danjin instead of Rocha, as she will perform a similar role, with solid damage and a good outro buff for Havoc resonators. Havoc Rover can also see some use on this team as they do have a bit of built-in support capability with their Havoc res down, and do solid damage. While Phrolova has mechanics that revolve around casting unique echoes, her teams aren't going to be as restrictive as a resonator like Zanny. Her early numbers seem to put her in a very good spot, especially if you have Cantarella. The new 3-cost set, while pretty much being restricted to just Phrolova, since it requires you to have 0 energy, allows a bit more flexibility, especially if you have old echoes laying around. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe, as I make pre-release guides for future resonators, and thank you for watching.